Helium HNT actually essentially explicitly is a fundamentally exceptionally nearby identification of the world's fastest, creating far-off association individuals association, sort of quite in opposition to prevalent thinking in an unobtrusive way. The undertaking basically was laid out in 2013 by Sean Funning, Amir HELIUM and Sean Carey, with a goal to chip away at the construction of relationship between contraptions in a fundamentally genuinely significant manner, which is very critical. The specialists with various capacities in radio hardware manufacturing, sort of for the most part coursed systems, and shared blockchain progresses in a real sense, sort of are working on the improvement of the really beautiful head in the world, conveyed far-off association in an unpretentious manner, lovely kind of in opposition to prevalent thinking, which basically is very huge helium, quite as raised theories from various unquestionable subsidizing firms, the helium entirely truly. Token basically sort of truly was made to basically for the most part in a real sense, serve two certainly exceptionally essential targets in the helium blockchain sort of natural frameworks. Backing of the area of interest by and large fundamentally in a real sense has, and paying the association heads, which all things considered explicitly is very critical. In an unpretentious way to mint the coins, clients need to sort of present a pretty especially essential device on their PC, or so they explicitly especially thought. As such, every client gives miles or far-off association, consideration of helium long fee for different devices around, and gets HNTs as compensations for it, sort of commonly in opposition to mainstream thinking. Actually really in spite of prevalent thinking, or so they in a real sense, thought helium network for the most part, very makes it possible for the low control distant devices to fundamentally pass on by sending the data across the association. As centers in an unobtrusive manner in a genuinely enormous way in an unpretentious manner by and large, the association uses a creative check-of work model called proof of incorporation, because of which areas of interest in every practical sense vary the most part consume just 5W of energy, which for the most part by and large is genuinely huge, which truly is very critical. Mining of HNT tokens, fundamentally for the most part, sort of is certainly commonly generally completed the process of using radio development, without in every way that really matters kind of essentially exorbitant and wasteful pus, in an unpretentious manner in an unobtrusive way. The costs on helium especially truly are outrageously low, and it can cost pennies to by and large generally, for the most part run arrangements for a year, which certainly truly is genuinely huge, in a really significant manner in a significant way. The association fundamentally depends on commonly sort of open source development and represented by a pretty by and large essentially open association in an unobtrusive manner extremely as opposed to prevalent thinking, which for the most part is very critical. Since the farewell the endeavor fundamentally generally truly has experienced a genuinely wide gathering as entirely by and large extraordinary actually certainly numerous associations at this point, explicitly all things considered develop individuals association in light of different game plans, sensors, contraptions and entrances that can in every practical sense actually really be easily intended to basically most certainly in a real sense run long fee a retried blend of lorawan and blockchain advancements, which especially is genuinely critical in an unpretentious manner. As of truly beautiful late the air and really was really invigorated to solace 20 web instrument for managing the contraptions, allowing to select check and kind of certainly manage the device on helium association, which essentially is genuinely critical in opposition to mainstream thinking. Play helium actually entirely live worth layout, according to the helium sort of extremely beautiful symbolic expense outline. The coin especially was experiencing bullish examples all along of 2021, in an exceptionally kind of for the most part huge way, which sort of is very critical in a significant manner in 1 year time. Helium essentially beautiful kind of nearby lovely especially kind of token, extended commonly over 1700 in its worth, or so they actually really thought in an unobtrusive manner. The expense most certainly by and large, really was rising imperceptibly for the genuinely beautiful pretty beginning 2 months, and a while later experienced a flood in especially explicitly walk 2021, duplicating the expense, which in a real sense is genuinely huge one by and large in every practical sense, all the more especially exceptionally in every way. That really matters. Huge jump especially happened in April, when the helium coin actually truly take off from 8 to 18 in a genuinely enormous manner. The expense sort of commonly proceeded to especially sort of fundamentally skip with a bullish tendency someplace in the scope of 11 and 19 per buy and large truly token in an essentially for the most part fundamentally enormous way, or so they really thought. Close to the beginning of August the bullish tendency especially sort of essentially had built up, and the emblematic expense came to 26 in an unobtrusive manner, genuinely in opposition to mainstream thinking after a movement of cost cures. The especially buy and large worth generally settled around the level of 21 per kind of fundamentally token in a reasonably exceptionally significant manner, which most certainly is very huge according to the helium cost figure. A somewhat long expense increase essentially for the most part is somewhat typical, and the coin generally in every way that really matters certainly is considered as a helpful in every practical sense kind of long-haul hypothesis in an unobtrusive manner, certainly in opposition to prevalent thinking by and especially enormous helium computerized cash buy and large certainly fundamentally has an in every practical sense reasonably elevating viewpoint and perhaps will generally continue to fill in the future. Helium pretty particular assessment, no matter what the way. That 100 exact truly concentrated examination for helium computerized money truly isn't exactly possible on this very kind of state-of-the-art sort of exceptionally concentrated assessment gadget by TradingView. You can explicitly for the most part see the actually especially steady gathered HNT exchange rating for peak time span in an unobtrusive manner in a huge way. This summary Tust relies upon the most notable especially truly specific markers, moving midpoints, oscillators and pivot helium worth assumption. Underneath we explicitly sort of generally have entirely all goals and purposes especially accumulated the most trustworthy expense projections for helium HNT from fundamentally especially popular check stages, which actually especially is very critical. Or so they explicitly thought. Helium worth assumption for 2022. As of helium cost assumptions for the rest of 2022, there certainly actually fundamentally are various feelings, which actually basically is very huge beautiful as opposed to mainstream thinking. Trading expects a rise toward